So what are you doing?
I'm levelling up the chimney so I can get a mark foot back so I know where to cut it.
What will that line do then? What's that telling you?
That will tell me the curve that I need to cut it in order to get it to fit over that little bit of dome.
The two pieces of timber either side of the chimney pot stopped it moving around while Rich was cutting it. Very nice.
Almost like I knew what I was doing.
This is our bedding mix. Rich sprayed the top of the oven with water where the chimney pot was going to sit. This gave us time to set the chimney pot into the bedding mix without the vermiculite drawing too much water out of it. We made sure that the chimney pot was positioned centrally and then we levelled it using a spirit level. We used the remainder of our mix to haunch around the chimney's base to keep it in place.
We just measured around the circumference of the pizza oven. We cut a piece of 2-inch ceramic insulation blanket.
Is it fibre blanket, is it?
Fibre, insulation, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to wrap that round and we're going to see if it'll actually form over the top of the pizza oven. We might have to cut some slots in it and things like that. And then the idea is that we're going to put some chicken wire over the top, tighten it up, and then we'll be ready for render. Obviously, mask, glasses, gloves, because this stuff is an irritant.
How cute is she? Booch! Shut up, Mum. It's quite difficult to see what we're doing at this stage. But in order to fit the fibre blanket over the dome, we had to trim it to shape. I removed pie-shaped wedges from where the dome started to curve up to the edge of the blanket. This allowed me to form the fibre blanket to the shape of the dome. Any gaps on the top of the dome were then filled in with the offcuts. We trimmed off the excess from around the chimney and used strips of offcuts to fill in any gaps and finish off around the top edge of the tunnel. The next step was to add chicken wire. We secured it in place using U-shaped pieces of wire pushed into the fibre blanket. As it's quite a soft wire, we were able to shape it easily by pressing it against the oven. Rich will give you some useful hints and tips about chicken wire in a moment.
Chicken wire, oh my! Trying to tighten the chicken wire up is a bit of a nightmare. The one thing I would say is, when you haunch up round the bottom, put some metal pins in, some nails, something like that, just something so that you've got something you can tighten it up against. We've had a bit of a fight with this, but one of the good things you can do afterwards is if you put a pair of narrow-nosed pliers where the chicken wire joins, so it's got a twist in it like the double strands, give that quarter of a turn and that'll tighten everything up. So we've got this as tight as we can, so the intention now is we're going to start rendering.
Put the board back in place so that we would have a nice straight edge to the render around the opening to the oven.
Well, I had a cup of tea. So we've now got the final render on it, about 1/2 inch thick. We've got this on just so that we've got a nice clean edge. So what we're going to do is leave that for a day or so, let it dry out. Cover it up for tonight and possibly tomorrow just to slow down the drying, because we're in for another warm day tomorrow. And that's it. So we're getting closer. We're almost there. So
We didn't actually mention the chimney pot.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Where it came from.
What we have done, rather than use a flue, we've used a 12-inch chimney pot. So we've still got a 12-inch draw. Yes, it's wider than the opening that we put in, which is 5-inch, but I gather that won't matter. As long as we're going larger, not smaller, it's still going to draw. So the chimney pot is actually, at the moment, that's the only item that we are reusing. Obviously we always try and reuse, reclaim, repurpose wherever possible. A bit more difficult with things like fire bricks because they're more expensive used. The vermiculite and cement, obviously you can't reuse. So the pot, the chimney pot actually comes from Sarah Jane's dad. So we've used that. I think it looks a little bit neater than putting a stainless steel flue on it. And then we will just put a capper on the top, like a what you call it? It's like a rain shield basically. Oh, here we go.
It's coming in.
As my able assistant is about to show you. What I'm going to do is, that's something that's reused. We've had this in the garden since we got here. So the intention is to use that. Hopefully that will still draw, keep the rain off, and we can repurpose it. That's the plan. That's what we're going to aim to do. That's it for now. Cup of tea time.